publicly known, but what isn't publicly known is the relation of how antennas, they grew shorter from a cell phone. You used to have to pull up the corner and raise the antenna. Putting two and two together with the following excerpts, please enjoy. Fields have very much to do with the antenna's size, and these sizes are all dependent on how much the emission of the wavelength is. So, everything is above 0 Kelvin. Nothing is below 0 Kelvin. So, negative temperature exists if the number of states are decreasing along with energy decreasing. I'm going to repeat this. Negative temperature is a thing if the number of the thing's states are decreasing as in energy decreasing. Now, this was proven in 1950 in atoms. The internal structure of them had those things occurring. And so I'm just amazed how much cognition that a number of states decrease would surmount to. And the recovery rate. Imagine someone who've fallen through ice and water, and they're pretty sure they're about to die within 30 more seconds if they're not out of the water. And then they get out of the water, their life is saved. The very next day they have full cognition of, they don't have to relearn anything, how to walk, what their phone number is. Outstanding how their entire brain was almost erased within 30 more seconds of being frozen underwater, not being able to get out of water. And so when this is occurring, all of their limbs, they go limp because all the energy of their body is going to the center of their body to keep their internals not seizing. So the state of that is decreasing when all the nerves at your fingertips are gone. So that is a example of how negative energy on a large scale, other than inside of atoms' internal structures, can be looked at and sought for. That negative temperature is like when shadows are going down the walls and it's getting dark or growing. Representation, if you could make those imageries within a body's internal structure, if it is being froze to death underwater if you slipped in. For negative temperatures. In your car, they would have antennas on the corner. These two things left just because they went under the hood. They got shorter. So that being said, for antennas, the ones that are shorter than half the wavelength that they're producing, they are emitting, is like talking about if they're near or far fields, is with what negative temperature is. You put negative temperature and antennas when they got shorter together, it's a makeup of what augmentation is. Modification can be summed up as augmented and modifying reality shows, or there are descriptions of what documentaries are, but more glorified, and actually not reality because they read off scripts. Because when the Big Bang exploded out, it was ostensibly from 0 Kelvin, and it's been cooling ever since. So that means it has technically nothing in the universe below 0 Kelvin. Now there is negative temperature. See, when I just said cancels out the first thing. Theoretically, I think, I'm read up more on this, but they say, yeah, there's negative temperature below 0 Kelvin would be hotter than positive Kelvin. So, kind of like the trade-off, how there's like a white hole ostensibly in the backside of a black hole, but to me that's just the same thing as the middle of a black hole singularity. Envelope, but in any case is important to note. An antenna can be as drastic as anything that is emitting a wavelength. And our brains, emit wavelengths all the time. Our brain stem would ostensibly be labeled as the description of one. Our spine, very electrochemical. So the notion of it being straight comes down to the architecture of antennas. And so this is a thing that's incredibly important to denote, because it never changes in the logic of how many crafty devices is made about that design. That's as simplistic as like physics gets.